Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is Lanky Trader. So I'm gonna run you guys through all the trades I took this week, a trade recap. So we're gonna start with US30, and you guys know, work our way through Nasdaq. Then we'll end it up at gold. Let's begin. There's something crazy happened this week. US30 pretty much ranged throughout the week. That's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. US30 just ranged throughout the week. We were only able to get out some good trades on NAS100 and gold, but for US30 was a mess this week. So I'm gonna break down the setups for you. This is our Monday's trade. This is our 9:30 candle. So I think the only trades I took this week on US30, Thursday and Friday. Those are the only two trades I took this week. I didn't trade Monday setup, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Yeah, okay, I traded Thursday setup, but Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I didn't trade because the market was just ranging throughout, just going sideways throughout the week. Yeah, I didn't trade on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So these are the setups. This is our 9:30 candle right here. This is our 9:30 candle. So we'll mark the high and the low, and you guys know. So we broke below, then see what happened. Market went back in, then sideways almost 2 hours, then went back in to the next day. Then we now had our next setup, which was Tuesday. This is our Tuesday's opening range here. So mark the high and the low. So we first broke out up, then we now came down, then tapped into the level. So this should have been like a push lower, at least to give me like a strong bias that yes, the market is going to keep on going down, so that maybe the next day I can look for a proper setup. But unfortunately, see what happened, it didn't even take the low. Then market just came back up to this high. That was Tuesday setup. Then Wednesday, this was Wednesday zone. Wednesday zone looked promising, but it was still within the range. It was still within this range. I can see we broke out, came back in, and the same thing. We just ranged throughout. So why I took Thursday setup was because there was strong liquidity here. This is one, this is two, then all these smaller ones here. And this candle came and took everything out during our session. Candle spiked up, took out all the liquidity here, and gave this strong bearish engulfing down. So I said, okay, no problem, I'll enter this trade. So I entered the trade, and immediately we hit stop loss. So that was Thursday setup. Then our Friday setup, there was volume in the market because of news, all the news we had on Friday. And again, you can see that we broke out of previous day high. 9:30 came, we marked out our opening range, and you can see the opening range was kind of like a retest of this previous day high. We now broke out of our opening range, which also broke the previous week high also. Then I entered for the buy. Tops are the low. Our target is a 1 to 1.5. That was the only take profit I hit this week on US30. One loss, then one win. I didn't trade Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I only took trades on Thursday and Friday. Thursday was a loss. Then I managed to kind of recover with the Friday setup. So that's how it is. So yes, strategy is a mechanical strategy. It's just something that you can do on repeat, but it's always good for a trader to know when to stay out of the market. Just to know when to stay out of the market, because there are times that the market is not conducive for the kind of strategy that you trade. So if you are entering the market, you are just wasting capital, and we're in this business to manage and retain capital, our capital, as long as possible. So it doesn't really make sense you seeing a setup that is not top notch and risking money to enter that trade. So that was our US30 trade. Then on Nasdaq, things got better. So this is the way a healthy chart should look. At least much better than US30. So this is update on our Friday setup. This is our Friday setup. We hit take profit eventually. That's it here. Then our Monday setup. This was our Monday setup. This is our 9:30 candle. This candle right here. So mark out the high and the low. We had a break above. So I set for a retest, and this candle this week just wicked my entry for us to go up. Stops at the low. Our target was a 1 to 1.5, and you guys can see we just got stopped out immediately. So after we got stopped out, now market just ranged, kind of created the liquidity pool here. This first tap, second tap, third tap. So I said, okay, let's wait and see whether either we can take out the previous week high, and maybe buy from there. But unfortunately, we didn't make any good moves on Tuesday, and this was Tuesday setup here. This was our 9:30 candle, our opening range candle here, and you guys can see that even if we broke above here, I cannot take this setup because we have a strong level here that has rejected price multiple times. See, 1, 2, 3. So there was no point entering a buy here. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. So what I did, instead of taking this Wednesday setup, I waited for price to make his move or show me what he wanted to do, which was to take our liquidity from this level. So you can see he took our liquidity from this level with this candle. Then I waited until we had a break back below this our strong level. So when we had the break below back at our strong level, I entered for our sell. Then you can see we moved up, we entered drawdown for some time. Then before market now eventually went to hit our TP for a 1 to 2. So that was our trade on Tuesday. So that was the setup we took on Tuesday that went to the next day and closed hit TP on Wednesday. Then our actual Wednesday setup, this is our opening range candle here. This is our 930 candle. We marked the high and the low. We had a break above. We entered for our buy, stops at the low. So my target was the previous week high. And you can see we just hit our take profit and kept on going higher. So that was our Wednesday setup. So our Thursday setup was a loss also. So this is our opening range candle here to mark out the high and the low. So we had a break below. So my confidence for this setup was market has taken all the liquidity it needed to take, had made this spike down. So now we are kind of what's it called, like a CRT setup. Like we've taken previous week's high and we have lost momentum. So now we are now setting up for a reversal, kind of like towards the end of the week. So that was my bias for this sell. But I entered for the sell and you can see gradually we got stopped out eventually. So sometimes it happens like that. You cannot be 100% accurate every time, but that's just how it is. So that's our Thursday setup. Our Thursday setup was a loss. Then our Friday setup, this is our Friday setup here. This is our Friday setup. These are opening range candle. We marked out the high and the low. We had a break below. We came back for our retest. We entered for our sell. Our target was a 1 to 1.5. And you guys can see we hit our take profit nicely right here. So that was it for US30 and NASDAQ. Gold is like my best pair trading this strategy on. The strategy performs best on gold because gold has a lot of volume and tends to trend a lot also. So strategy is like holy grail on gold. This is our opening range candle right here. So mark the high and the low of our candle. Then we had a break above here. We came back for our retest. We entered for our buy, stops at the low. Our target is a 1 to 2. And you guys can see we hit our take profit nicely right here. Just clean trade. Then we went to Tuesday. So this is our Tuesday setup. So this Tuesday setup, I actually missed it. I missed the setup because market moved so fast that I could not catch the move. So it moved so fast I couldn't catch the move. So this is our opening range candle here. We marked out the high and the low. So this was the candle I was expecting, this week's candle. This was the candle I was expecting to close bullish so I could enter on the next candle. But this candle did not close bullish. Towards the end of the 15 minutes cycle, this candle just wicked back into the zone, so I could not use that. But the next setup, the next candle just immediately blew up. So there was no point entering from where this candle closed. So I was hoping that this rejection, this candle here will come back down to our entry. So I set a buy limit here, but it did not trigger because there was a fair value gap here, and it just went after that fair value gap and kept on going. And apart from the fair value gap, the previous day low at that time was here, and I couldn't take from the previous day low because it's not my setup. You do understand? That was how when Tuesday's trade went. It actually pained me that I missed the setup, but you cannot catch all of them, so I missed Tuesday setup. Then Wednesday setup was not a loss, so it didn't even pain me more because I could have at least made some profit here that would have kind of buffered me for this loss than taking from the Monday's profits. So this is our opening range candle here. So we marked out the high and the low of our opening range candle. So I made a mistake. I made a lot of mistakes on Wednesday. So on Wednesday, this particular setup, so I had a lot of things I was doing, so I was very impatient to wait for the candle to close, like the breakouts to happen and close. So because of that, I was making a lot of mistakes. So the first mistake I made after we marked out our opening range candle, we kind of wicked, then we now look like we are going to break above with this candle. So this candle was bullish here, so it was very aggressive. It was moving aggressively, and because I was on other things, I had a lot of things I was doing that Wednesday, I said, okay, it looks like there's a lot of volume pushing market up, so let me just enter and put my stops below so I can focus on other things. So I did that too. Immediately I entered my position like this, market just rejected back and took me out at a stop with this aggressive candle here. With this candle took me out at a stop, so I now entered for the actual setup, which was a sell, but instead of waiting for the retest, I entered here because I wanted to recover my loss. You can see how mistakes end up spiraling and turning into more mistakes. And if you are not wise enough to stop as soon as you recognize what is happening, your account will just go just like that. I entered for the sell here. So after I had entered the sell, I realized that I had made a mistake risk-wise. My stop was above here, and we tagged back into it, came back down, and market basically ranged throughout that Wednesday before eventually taking us out at a stop, because we came so close here and I saw this liquidity here. So I know that I was in my mind, I was saying that the chances of market going back up after knowing that there's liquidity here, most likely it's going to come back and take this liquidity, take this low and go lower. And again, I had this strong level here. Remember from Tuesday we didn't have a retest here and market just kept on pumping up. So if you know if you guys trade other block and other stuff, you know that this kind of zones, when market just goes up and doesn't tap into a level, those type of zones are always very strong zones that later attract price. So that's what I thought was going to happen here. So I can enter because I still had a buy limit here from this setup. So I was hoping that this will just take out this liquidity here, then meet our zone, then we'll now get triggered and go back up. But unfortunately, it took us out at a stop. So I lost twice or three times. I think I entered the trade twice. I entered for the buy once, then I entered for the sell twice to recover the loss and make profits. Then I got taken out at a loss. So I lost 3 trades on just Wednesday setup alone, which annoyed me because the mistake could have been avoided. I fell for it. I'm a human. I can't be a robot all the time. So sometimes emotions will just play out and things will just get messed up. So the main thing is that I realized my mistake on time, and instead of entering that revenge trading spiral, I just took correction and stayed away from the market. I've lost and pulled back, and that's what saved me. So then we now went to our Thursday setup. This is our Thursday's opening range here. So we mark out the high and the low, and you guys can see this was a cleaner setup. We entered for our sell, tops are the high, our target was a 1 to 2, and you can see we just went through like butter, hit our TP, and merely we hit our TP, we triggered my buy limit that was here from our Tuesday setup. We got triggered here, and you can see immediately we just tapped into it. We just made a strong rejection to show you how powerful that type of setup is. That is a very powerful setup when market just taps into a level, and instead of going back to retest the level, it just spikes and keeps going up. When it eventually comes back to that level, we are assured to get a 1 to 2 from that setup. That's what happened here. So after we hit our TP on our Thursday's actual trade, we now got another setup from our Tuesday's opening range, which we had here. We tapped in and we hit our TP 1 to 2. Stops below the low, we got triggered, and our 1 to 2 take profit got hit, and that's how we're able to recover from this loss. These 2 trades made me recover from this loss, and that's why you should not over trade, and that's why you should always follow proper risk management. If I had just traded anyhow here and did not follow proper risk management, maybe I would have blown this account and I would not be able to recover from here. But because I make sure that all my risk was 1% on all these setups, I was still able to have more setups to recover, and that's how I was able to take this trade and get a 1 to 3, take this trade and get a 1 to 2 and recover for all the losses I got here. So that's just it. So that was our Thursday's trades. Then our Friday setup was a loss. It's not a holy grail, as I said. You cannot win all the time. So that is why we have stop loss and we have good risk management. So this was our Friday setup. This is our opening range candle right here. This is our opening range candle. We marked the high and the low. We had a break above. We had a break below. So I set my sell limit here, and you can see that market just didn't respect the sell limit at all. Just went back to our stop loss, and the trade ended. So upon all the losses I had on gold this week, you guys know I traded dedicated. I have a dedicated account I trade gold on. So despite all the losses we had this week, and despite me making the mistakes I made on this Wednesday setup, we are still able to bag $4,000 this week. So if I didn't take this Friday setup, I was actually looking to stay out of this Friday setup, but I couldn't just resist, so I entered the trade. So if I had stayed out, maybe I would have held my 5k, but because I entered the trade, I lost this setup, so I was left with $4,000. So it's not bad. We made $4,000 this week. trading gold. So is nice, and I'll post the P&L for this week for gold on the chart so you guys can see. So that's it, guys. We make profits, we make losses. The only thing that saves us is good psychology, good risk management. So we just have to just keep following our system, following our routine, and most of all we have to keep back testing. That's it, guys. We did well this week. We made mistakes, we learned from our mistake, and hopefully next week we'll do better. So our P&L for gold is 4k. So if my channel gets to 1,000 subscribers, I'll show you the P&L. I'll start posting the P&L for US30 and NASDAQ also. But for now, I'll just be giving you guys on our P&L for gold only. Yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you guys next week. Bye.